name's Mel Cash. I wrote the first book with the title Sports Massage on the cover, which came out in 1988. So I feel uniquely qualified to talk now about what was intended by that title, not necessarily what it's turned into, because it's now a bit of a vague industry. So sports massage, how did it come about? Well, I began in the 1980s, and at that time, apart from a very sort of small luxury spa massage sector, the most commonly known use of massage in the 80s, I'm afraid to say, was in the sex industry, which I should add is not where I started. Because what happened was there was myself and a few of other people like me who were very, very keen on our sport, and we discovered the benefits of massage and decided this is what we wanted to do. And we found massage courses, they weren't, by today's standards, they certainly weren't very good. They were mostly based on the spa kind of general body massage. And then, to a great extent, we started to work with athletes and dancers, and we taught ourselves how to do this job. So that's how the work started to evolve. And then when I decided I wanted to write a book, we needed a title. We needed a title that immediately made people realise this had nothing to do with sex. This was a new modern approach to massage, specifically aimed at helping people from within the context of sport. And the title Sports Massage was exactly right for the cover of a book at that time. It wasn't really meant to turn into the vague industry it's now become. Sports massage is just talking about how massage can help people specifically within the area of sport. Now, you can't massage a sport, so the term itself is meaningless. But unless you happen to be lucky enough to be working with elite professional athletes, where their sports performance is your #1 priority, for most of the people that we treat, they do sport as part of their lifestyle. It's not the whole thing. So they don't just do sport, they've got a life, a job, a family, past injuries, all sorts of other issues. So sport is just part of their life. So sports massage is not the whole job. As a soft tissue therapist, sports massage is just one of the elements that I have to consider when I'm treating people who do sport as part of their lifestyle. But really, to be a good soft tissue therapist, you need to do an awful lot more than just sports massage. What is sports massage? Well, what it is not is about treating injury. In actual fact, sports massage is about doing the opposite. It's trying to prevent injury. Now, of course, massage will speed up the recovery process where there is an injury, but really, we want to prevent the injury. That's what the athlete wants. So we've got to be thinking about injury prevention, and that's all about having massage as an integral part of training. So all serious athletes, performers, dancers, they should be thinking about massage as a regular part of their training program. And because its main advantage is helping the recovery process, if someone said to you, well, I'd like a weekly sports massage, when should I have it? The best time will be as soon as possible after the most intensive training session of the week, because that should be followed by an easier recovery phase. And if we can do some massage right at the beginning, we massively kickstart that recovery process. But then if someone's in competition, you'll be treating them much more often. If you're on tour, if someone's in some sort of tournament, we could be talking about treating them every day. And it's important in the case of competition, particularly, to treat the athlete or dancer as soon as possible after that performance. So, for example, when I've worked with elite ballet dancers, despite the fact they might finish a performance at 10:30 at night and then go off to a restaurant and have a meal and not maybe get back to the hotel till 1 o'clock in the morning, that is when I'll be doing my job. Because it'd be vitally important to give them a good massage before they go to sleep. Because if there's any micro trauma in those muscles as a result of overuse, it's during the night when they go into a nice comfortable position that everything will tighten up and they'll wake up feeling stiff. But by giving them a massage soon after the performance, but definitely if you can do it before they go to bed that night, the result will be far, far better. Okay, so how does sports massage speed up the recovery process and in so doing help prevent injury? Most injuries in sport, if they're not caused by trauma, they're usually overuse injuries which build up over a period of time. And the most common reason for the overuse injury to develop is because the athlete or dancer goes out and performs or trains on tissues that haven't yet fully recovered from the previous exertion. So the better they recover, the far less risk they have of getting injured, particularly in training. So how does it work? Well, basic massage, effleurage and petrissage, stimulates the blood flow through the microcirculation. Now, as a result of exercise, hard exercise, the muscles accumulate what we call muscle waste, a cocktail of chemicals that can accumulate in the muscles as a result of exercise. Well, massage massively quickly flushes all of that through. And also, by stimulating the blood flow through that microcirculation, you're going to speed up the recovery of the micro-trauma. And of course, the blood supplies all the ingredients the cells need for their growth, their repair, their vitality. So the more blood we can send through that microcirculation to all the cells in those tissues, the quicker they're going to recover. So that's, in its simplest way, how basic sports massage helps prevent injury by speeding up the recovery process. But if that's all we did as massage therapists, the job would be quite boring, because there's far more to it than that. And what really opens this sports massage up is the early identification of potential problems. Now, I've just said to you that most injuries in sport build up gradually. Overuse injuries build up gradually over a period of time, days, weeks, months, could even be years. Now, those minor injuries that build up very slowly, the nervous system and neuromuscular system can stay one step ahead. If that tension in that muscle is building up gradually, the neuromuscular system just learns how to slightly cheat, slightly compensate, change your stride length, change your biomechanics just a little bit so you don't notice the discomfort. Until it suddenly reaches a critical level and bang, they notice they've got an injury. You'll find many times people come to you and say, I haven't done anything unusual, I'm doing my usual training and suddenly I've got calf pain. Well, the human body doesn't suddenly decide to self-destruct. You know, they've got to have been doing something. If they haven't done anything particularly unusual to cause that calf strain, well then maybe something's been building up behind the scenes. They haven't noticed it until it's reached that critical level. But by giving that athlete regular massage, you feel the changes. You can spot the difference. Oh, that muscle is tight, it wasn't tight last week. You notice that perhaps the right hamstring is a bit tighter than the left, long before they might have noticed there was a problem. And so we can nip these things in the bud before they develop into more complex issues. So for example, supposing an athlete's right hamstring had a little bit of micro-trauma, was a little bit tighter than the left, might not really notice it. But without realising it gradually over weeks or even months, they slightly start to adjust their stride length or their biomechanics, and suddenly creates a bit of an issue, and suddenly they get a little bit of back pain. When they come to us as a therapist complaining of back pain, it's quite hard to work out that it probably started off from tension in the right hamstring. But if we've spotted that very quickly, not only can we do some treatment to try and release the tension and solve the problem before it becomes an injury, but also we can ask a few questions. Well, how come? Why has that right hamstring become tight? What have they done? Maybe it's a fault in their training. Maybe they're not stretching it correctly. So not only have we spotted a potential injury, but also we've thought about the causes of it and tried to find a solution. So we've tried to solve a problem before it's even become a problem. I mean, how good is that? So with regular massage, we can spot the differences. We can try and anticipate a potential problem and try and find a solution as well as treating it before it turns into something more complicated. It also has the benefit of improving the athlete or client's self-awareness. Okay, the guy lying down there with the tight hamstring, the right hamstring is a bit tight, he may not have known it before, but when you press into it and you do some deep massage work, he can feel that right hamstring does feel a little bit more uncomfortable than the left. And also he can feel where it is. So when it comes to stretching, for example, when he does his hamstring stretch, he knows where he needs to feel that stretch. It'll be much more effective than just simply doing a stretch because it's been recommended or it's on a sheet of paper. He'll do that stretch in a mindful way because he knows where the tightness is. He'll move around and adjust the position of that stretch to get right into that problem because you improved his self-awareness. And also, he's aware that right hamstring is tighter than the left, so he can start to monitor his own progress when he stretches. He's aware there's a potential problem there that he's got to just be careful of and maybe just take it easy for a few days with his training. So improved self-awareness is a big part of that link between treatment and how they train. General sports massage has got many other benefits as well. It can improve flexibility. It can release fibrous adhesions within a muscle that might not be achievable through basic stretching. For example, your biceps brachii here, you can't really get a good functional stretch into that muscle because the elbow joint doesn't allow it. But obviously with massage and friction we can get in there and actually release any fibrous adhesion and improve the mobility of that muscle regardless of its range of movement. So we can improve flexibility. And of course also let's not forget that the general therapeutic benefits of massage, where they can just lie down and relax for an hour and have a nice relaxing massage, has more general therapeutic, psychologically sort of relaxing and calming benefits as well. So yes, sometimes people think sports massage has to be deep and tough and painful. It should not be painful. There are times when if there's tension it should feel like a good pain, but it shouldn't be excruciating. When I hear, well, sometimes I see people who've had a so-called sports massage and they've got bruises. You know, that really is that's not sports massage, that's just bad massage. So yes, a sports massage may be painful where there's a problem. It should only hurt where there's a problem, and the pain should always be tolerable pain, not excruciating. Of course, if you're going in so deep the client's lying there like that in pain, well, they're not relaxing. There's a battle going. You're trying to get into that muscle. They're fighting you out. You're wasting your effort. So don't inflict pain. That's not what it's about. Yes, there are times where sports massage does go deep, and we do work on a neuromuscular level to try and release that tension. But brutality is not what sports massage should be about. And let's not forget, sports massage is not just for elite athletes. We know now that everybody should be living a more active physical lifestyle for better health and well-being. And it's our job to encourage all of our clients to be more healthy, more active. And so for somebody that's never done any sport before, who might be in their 40s or 50s, that are going to start to take up some sport to try and improve their health and well-being, they're bound to be picking up a few aches and pains when they start, and we can help nurture them, help give them some sound advice, encourage them to build up their exercise sensibly. And we can deal with the aches and pains along the way and give them support and encouragement. So sports massage is not just for the elite athletes. In fact, in many ways, it's perhaps more important for the average, regular, amateur, recreational athlete who just wants to live a fit, healthy, active lifestyle. What we do with them is as important as what we do with our elite athletes. So what techniques do we use in sports massage? Well, the foundation of everything we do is your basic massage, effleurage and petrissage. We use friction to try and break down areas of what appear to be fibrous adhesions and knots in the muscles. Deep friction seems to release those, whether on a physical or a neuromuscular level, we can never be quite sure, but it certainly works. So your general massage techniques. To potment, we use that in a pre-event situation to stimulate. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we also, in our sports massage, we use neuromuscular techniques to try and release excessive muscle tension that can build up as a result of training. A very common technique we use is soft tissue release. It's a term we use here in the UK. It's called pin and stretch in other countries. It's a simple lock and stretch technique, and that really does focus on areas of tension within a muscle very, very specifically, so that can be very useful. And we also do a lot of muscle energy techniques to stretch or to improve the range of movement in muscles that become chronically tight through exercise, training and injury. And then for those of us who are soft tissue therapists with more advanced techniques, of course, we then use other techniques like positional release and myofascial techniques to work with more chronic underlying injury problems. So when it actually comes to competition and performance, in a pre-event situation, it's a difficult situation really. Ideally, you don't want to treat somebody immediately before an event that you haven't treated before, that you don't know, because every athlete will respond differently to treatment. So ideally, if you've got a client, an athlete you're working with, it'd be good to kind of try out some pre-event treatment to see what suits them best. We often think that in a pre-event situation you need to stimulate the athletes, you do a lot of percussion work and potment, but not if the athlete is actually a bit overexcited and needs to be calmed down. So it doesn't always follow that logical step. And you need to ask the athlete how they like to feel. I work with some athletes who, even though they might be sprinters, they actually like to feel really relaxed at the start of the race to keep them calm and not false start. So there are times when you might work in a fairly slow, relaxed way, even though you might think that's not what you'd normally expect for a sprinter or a high jumper or whatever. So see what they like, because everybody is different. Now, in an immediate pre-event situation, hopefully the athlete or dancer you're working with should be well prepared and injury free. And indeed, in that situation, a pre-event massage should really just be for almost the psychological confidence. They've done everything, they've even had a really good massage before the competition. So hopefully we shouldn't have injuries to deal with or problem areas to deal with in a pre-event situation. If we do, then we have to do our best to treat them and hope it works. But they shouldn't be carrying an injury into a competition. Now, post-event is again another situation. When you see somebody after an event, your first priority is to look out for injuries. Also, if you're working, for example, at a major event like a marathon or triathlon, and you're treating lots of people, do check out for general health signs. If it's a hot day, make sure that person, make sure the athlete is speaking coherently, they're not a little bit confused, make sure they're perspiring. If it's a hot day, they don't appear to be dehydrated, they don't seem to be hypoglycemic. Look for any potential health issues that may not be quite right. Hopefully, if in the event, there'll be a medical team on hand that you can refer people to. But watch out for those health signs that you need to pay attention to. But then when it comes to the actual treatment, look out for injuries. It's always a good idea to have ice to hand, so if they do have an injury, you can apply ice locally to that injury. And my advice always is, in a post-event situation, your main job is to flush through the tissues to speed up the recovery process. I tend not to focus on injuries at that stage, because most things let them calm down and see how it is after a day or two. Certainly been times when I've actually applied ice to an acute injury and massaged around it, which is fine as well. So be mindful and cautious about injuries. So you start off fairly superficially, but keep going deeper and deeper and deeper if you can. If you feel a problem, then you start to avoid it or use ice. And often just doing some gentle passive stretching can be quite useful, quite helpful, particularly in a marathon type situation. It feels really, really good as well. So in conclusion, I don't really see sports massage as being a job in itself. Sports massage is really just an underlying set of principles you try to apply to the sporting needs of a client. But as I said earlier on, most people do sport as part of a lifestyle. So, what you do for sports massage is thinking about their training, but there are obviously other issues in their life that might require a different approach to treatment. But I used to run marathons and triathlons. I've finished marathons and triathlons and not had massage straight afterwards, and I've done those events and had a massage straight afterwards. And there's absolutely no question of doubt that post-event massage is almost like waving a magic wand, because the recovery process is so much quicker.